So, something I want to ask you about is when people have to have those tough conversations, that conversation that you have to have because it's aching in your soul.
Just
And yeah,
uncomfortable conversations.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, those
Uncomfortable
conversations
conversations.
that
Yeah.
bring you closure, those type of conversations that bring you clarity, that bridges the gaps that you've been wondering on, like just closes ties knots that you've been leaving loose, like those uncomfortable conversations or to get clarity on what you've been just trying to like piece together yourself
Mhm.
that's been causing you confusion and chaos. Those conversations, those uncomfortable conversations that nobody wants to have, that's literally the only conversation that needs to be had to fix pretty much majority of the problems or the tension that's in the room when
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to have it. And that's something that we need to I'm not even gonna say we need to because y'all do what y'all want to do, okay? But that's something that I plan on in incorporating more into my life
Mhm.
to make sure because just like, it's conversations that is very like difficult to have. It may be disturbing, it may be, but it's a truth that needs to be spoken.
Mhm.
And that's what makes it so uncomfortable. The truth really like challenges people. We all guilty to it, in our own different ways of life. Um, but it's just like when we hear the truth and we heard it in the way, like in the rawest form or the most authentic way that we've ever received it, we tend to get defensive because not because we don't like it, but we just don't know how to receive it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So
there's some that people will get mad at the truth. They will laugh at a lie, but they will get mad at the truth.
yes,
Well,
yes. I seen something recently on, I think it was TikTok, where this post said something about it's crazy how people will believe the lie with no proof, but need evidence to believe the
you
truth.
should think about that. Wow.
Like, and I was just like, wow, like people don't even ask for proof for a lie.
It's
But
like,
when it comes to like proving the truth, you need
right.
evidence. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, really, it just kind of make you reflect and think about like, damn, is this the world we live in? Have the uncomfortable conversation, like at whatever time you feel like, you feel the opportunity. Not at whatever time, but just like read the room, of course. But it's just like, it's always
Well,
important to try to like,
I just want to say why it's important to have those conversations is because one, it's going to sit with you. You're going to keep having a conversation with yourself until you have it with the other person,
right,
right?
right.
So it's avoiding you suffering. Also, having the conversation is it gives the other person an idea of what your boundaries look like,
Oh,
right? If they don't know what your boundaries look like, how are they supposed to know when they're crossing them or where
right.
to
For
stop,
you,
right?
yeah.
Um, and the last one is knowing that it goes back to what you said about intention,
Mm-hmm.
a person's intentions. And we were having a conversation off camera where she basically talked about people's intentions and how they project things, um, like what they may be feeling, they project it onto someone else,
Right,
right?
right.
And so, I want to ask you, like, why do some people experience a lot of drama? You know, somebody who just constantly has drama in their life.
Yeah.
And, from your perspective, why do you think some people just attract drama?
Because trouble is easy to get into, but hard to get out of.
Mhm.
And we all want the easy route in life. You know what I'm saying? While some of us choose the more difficult route in life because sometimes we know that's the route that we have to take. At the end of the day, we all want the easiest way to get to whatever it is that we want to get to. And one of those things that's very easy to get to is drama, it's
Mhm.
trouble, it's gossip, somebody else's business, criticizing somebody, judging somebody, like anything that's like low like that, like that's easy to talk about. You can easily pick anybody in the world to talk shit about. You know what I'm saying? No matter where you at or it's just like that's just something that's easy to get to. So it's like because a lot of us don't want to really like think outside of the box and really expand our mind and think beyond the ways that we were taught to think and think about the things like in a way that's beyond what we would think like taught to think about it. It's just like some people like stray away from that. And I get it, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's like I remember experiencing like what is like, I was kind of like thought outside of the box, but I remember times like having those like thoughts outside of the box and remember like thinking like I shouldn't be having these thoughts because it's just not what I was taught.
And thoughts like what?
Like, this is very touchy. Religion,
Okay.
you know, um, and how Like certain things, like how we're taught to think and see something and believe in something all in one way. And I remember thinking, like, seeing religion is just like, okay, I respect it and I receive it and I understand it. But God shows up in me in ways beyond what somebody's trying to make me limit and see one way of like seeing. You know what I'm saying? It's just like God shows up for all of us in a different way, but every day, like God shows up to all of us like with grace, with mercy, with forgiveness, with strength, with guidance, with, you know what I'm saying, whatever we want to receive from God. So it's just like the way, like, so for instance, a lot of times religions like to associate magic with witchcraft,
Mm.
like dark work and stuff like that. And the way I like to see it brings me pleasure to see God is where, you know, to how God has shown it for me. God is magical. God has done things for me that I didn't even think like, oh, this could be done. Or like in a way that I can't even imagine like how it would show up. How something, you know what I'm saying? Just I knew something that I wanted. But the way God made it show up for me, that was magical because I didn't even know that it was even possible. So my God is magical. I don't like that people we like to as religions like we like to associate like magic with being dark, evil, demonic, or like you know what I'm saying, like witchcraft. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know,
Like
it's
them
called,
ill
we call
intentions.
it the supernatural.
Yeah, God
Yeah.
shows up for me in magical ways. You know what I'm saying? Like how we say God works in mysterious ways.
Tell
I
you
like to see
something.
God as like very
God shows up to me when I get that close parking spot at the grocery store, and I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
okay.
You know, and it's like, what it's like, we gotta be, you know, cherish the little things.
Listen, sometimes when I get home late at night. And most of the time when I get home late at night, you know, everybody's home late at night, you know. And sometimes when I pull up and I see there's an open parking spot close to my front door, like I just be like, "Oh God, like you know, I needed this." Like, oh my God, like just a way to just you know start the end of my day. I get home and I got that parking spot that's close to my door. Oh my God, I ain't really got to walk far. There won't nobody but God. The simplest thing.
So we were talking about. I'm so glad that I had the experience of knowing what it feels like to eat a fruit directly from a tree or a watermelon directly from the patch. You know,
So
eating something fresh.
straight directly from the source of the dirt, from the source of the earth, from the source of God.
No middleman.
No, you know what I'm saying? Straight from like, let me tell you something. A cucumber? That's
Mm. You know, my mother has been on me about. She was like, you know, you got this little space out back. Why don't you go ahead and start your garden and you know, going on things? And so,
you know, that's one thing they say about mothers. They're always right.
well, I'm not going to argue with that.
And I wouldn't say she's wrong in that situation. Absolutely
Mhm.
not. So, yeah, we got to use what God gave us.
Yeah, we do. But
And especially, yeah, have you seen that shit lately where they said they're spraying some type of like forever chemical on like broccoli, cabbage, carrots, and things like that? Something.
well, I've even heard things about they spray coloring on the
Yeah, they spray all sorts of types of shit on that stuff,
like.
on our food. Like some of the food is not even really food.
Oh,
And
that's
that's all I'm gonna say to that.
yeah, that's terrible. We're gonna do a show on that one. Um,
But
uh,
yeah, like
I want to ask you something like, so, you know, one of the, you know, a lot of what we talk about is about relationships, whether
yeah.
it's personal relationship, professional relationship, whatever.
Hmm.
And one of the things I want to bring up today is, can you eliminate conflict? Like, or should you eliminate conflict? And what are your thoughts on that?
It's like conflict. Elaborate on what you mean on conflict.
So the way I see
Have any
conflict
further
is the fact that conflict is not good or bad. It's all about how you feel about it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. That.
So if we have differing of opinions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're on a team and we're trying to
Right.
create a product, let's say
Right.
we're business people, we're trying to create a product. Well, we got to be able to throw out ideas,
Mm-hmm.
but also be prepared for that idea to be struck down because the goal is for the best idea to survive.
Okay.
Right? Whichever
Right.
the best idea is, that's going to be the one left standing. That could be your idea. It could be my idea sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, coming out of that ego space
Mm.
of,
I'm so glad you brought it up. I have some minutes in here about
you know,
egos.
can we get to a place where we can have conflict, healthy conflict?
Yes,
So thought.
absolutely. Absolutely. Let me tell you something. You know how we often try to pray away and rebuke negative energy. Something that I learned that there is a such thing as healthy negative energy. You know what I'm
Tell me
saying?
more about that.
So healthy
'Cause
negative
that's
energy to me that I've learned to see because it's just like in order to know light, you have to know the dark. In order to know good, you have to know bad. In
right.
order to know healthy, you have to know sick. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to know the as above, so below, the contrast, the the difference in the same things. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
that makes sense. If
Well,
you
the
become
contrast was a great way of explaining it.
so, something that I learned that is like healthy negative energy. Like I used to always try to like when I pray, like I would try to pray away like negative energy. Oh, like God protect me from this negative energy. Like no weapons formed against me shall prosper. And I still like, you know, still pray that that
Mhm.
God protects me in that way. But I've learned to like, we're gonna have to face things regardless. We have challenges. That's where when you asked me, what was the question you asked me about conflict?
Is conflict, can you eliminate it? Like, should you eliminate it?
Absolutely not, because it's all about perception.
Mhm.
That's one of those things where it's like, do you see it as conflict or do you see it as a challenge that you have
Mhm.
to learn something from? That you're put into a lesson where you have to learn something. And when we're learning something, we often feel like our ego is challenged. Like we feel like, oh, we're uncomfortable, or like we don't like the way this makes us feel because it makes us feel like we know less because we're learning and we don't know nothing about it. So it makes us, it kind of humbles us in a way, it humbles our intelligence. So like sometimes that's when people, their ego, you ever notice that like people that talk so much but never listen to what the other person has to say?
Or,
Ego wants to
or
know.
talking so much and you still don't know what they're saying.
Right. They're not listening. So it's just like that's their ego to me. And now I'm not saying that I'm right. This is just the way I perceive things. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying facts are facts. I'm just this is the way I see things, okay? My perception.
Hmm.
So people's ego, like people that pretend that they know everything, never shut their mouth and listen to nothing.
Well,
Whereas
this is saying that when you talk, you're only speaking on what you already know. When you listen, you're learning things that you don't know.
absolutely. And people who also like want to know everything and people who are very egotistical and just want to feed and fuel their ego, they often they hear you to respond instead of listening and understand and comprehend and then communicate. You know what I'm
Because then it
saying?
becomes a war,
Right.
right? Who's going to win?
Right.
And that's not effective
A pissing
communication.
contest.
Like, effective communication is really about win-win,
Right.
right? You walk away feeling like you got what you wanted, and the other person just
Or you attack that person worse than they attacked you, or you gave the hardest blow, or like, oh damn, I really hit them where it hurts. You know what I'm saying? It's a pissing contest to see who can make the other person feel smaller or less than. That's when when you're battling with the ego, where you feel like somebody's trying to make you less than. That tells you right there, you are battling with the ego. Walk away, leave